What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Wednesday afternoon, an emergency Wednesday afternoon stream, because Manchester United have submitted a new bid for Mason Mount. Now, it must be said, before we start off anywhere, it's been rejected straight away, so let's not get too excited, too ahead of ourselves. The reason I'm a few minutes late is because I was getting everything together, because the plan was to go live later on this afternoon anyway, because it's been a busy day, actually, when it pertains to transfer news and all that kind of stuff. It really has, when it comes to, I guess, a bit of frustration, because Chelsea are moving crazy when it comes to transfer business at the moment. I mean, they have got rid of, it's like 4 or 5 players in the space of 24 hours, and this will impact this Mason Mount deal. So we were going to talk about that anyway. We knew that this new bid, this second bid, was coming in. What's really interesting as well, of course, is that this was described previously that the next bid was going to be the last bid. Well, the next bid's been rejected already. So what do we do? What do we do when it comes to this next bid? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Declan Rice as well, because new reports today have suggested that Man United might enter the race for Declan Rice, including involving the likes of Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay as a possible swap plus cash option for Declan Rice. We're going to be talking about that. We're talking a little bit about Xavi Simons, United being interested in him, Interest FC, I know. Can we talk about Fred? It was thought that Fred would want to be one of these players that we were going to sell this summer, and a player that was likely to be going to Fulham. It looks like, whilst that still could happen, Fulham are kind of scoffing a little bit at Manchester United's asking price, saying that they think it's too high. So we'll provide you some update and clarification on that. And speaking of clarification, I know so many people have been asking, why is Zidane Iqbal leaving, and why for such a short price? Well, there's been a bit written about that from the Manchester Evening News over the course of the morning and the afternoon. So as I mentioned, there's a lot to get into over the course of the next 45 minutes, hour or so. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, we'll get your comments up on the screen as well. Let's start off talking about Mason Mount. Now, we knew that this bid was coming, and you could argue that maybe it was sped up because of a particularly slow transfer window from Manchester United. But David Ornstein, tap. We're logging on to Ornhub. Midday, get a LIFO in. Well, this is my life. David Ornstein is dropping an exclusive saying Manchester United have today made an improved bid for Mason Mount. The proposal was £45 million plus £5 million in add-ons, a combination of £50 million. Chelsea countered with 60 million plus 5. That 65 number is the same number that, of course, they're going to be getting for Kai Havertz. This was something I pointed out on Twitter earlier today, saying, right, the moment that Arsenal and Chelsea have pretty much agreed 65 million for Kai Havertz, that's going to be the going rate. That's going to be the asking price for Mason Mount. And now United, they had their 50 million limit. Suddenly, it might have to go to 65. Ornstein continues by saying Manchester United have a limit while Chelsea are trying to comply with Mason Mount's wishes. No agreement, but getting closer. Now, let me know your thoughts on that. My immediate thoughts were good. Again, we knew that this next bid was going to be going in. It's also actually a little bit of extra news on that, and this is the fun thing about being live. It's being reported from the Telegraph, Matt Law, who, in fairness to him, did report earlier today. This is something that we were going to say if we were going to go live later on this afternoon / this evening, that a new bid was going to be coming in from Manchester United for Mason Mount. We knew that that was going to happen, and he said that actually Chelsea have now reduced their asking price to £65 million. There is slightly more optimism that a compromise will be found with Manchester United, because, of course, previously that price that they were looking for was 80, 75, 70 million pounds. They've now dropped it to 65. As I said, most likely because they'll be looking at the Kai Havertz deal and saying, right, well, if Arsenal are willing to spend 65 million for Kai Havertz, then Manchester United should be willing to spend 65 million for Mason Mount. And realistically, and again, the bid's been rejected, so if they really want Mason Mount, they're going to have to go back in for another bid. But honestly, I think Manchester United are in a lot of trouble, honestly, when it comes to their transfer dealings right now. What we have seen is Chelsea acting really, really quickly. I think Man United were arrogant. Shock, I know, but I think United were arrogant because they thought, well, Chelsea need to sell. Chelsea have to sell, FFP restrictions, etc., etc. I don't think what they anticipated is them moving 5 players over the course of about 48 hours. What we've seen today is Mendy, he's gone to Saudi Arabia. Koulibaly's gone to Saudi Arabia. Ziyech has gone to Saudi Arabia. Kante's deal has been confirmed. Kai Havertz is going for £65 million. Aubameyang's also going to be going to Saudi Arabia. That hasn't been confirmed, but negotiations continue. Callum Hudson-Odoi, also negotiations with possible Saudi clubs. That's 7 players right there that are going to be going like that. And you can have your reservations about whether it's fair, whether it's legal. As I said earlier on this morning, you can't get annoyed that a guy's found loopholes when they spent so much money last summer and last winter because he found loopholes. And they're suggesting that there's nothing really in the whole Chelsea-Saudi conspiracy or anything like that. It's more of a case of Chelsea have got a bunch of players and Saudi Arabia want to expand their league and invest in their league, so they're signing big name players that are available. They know those Chelsea players are available because they need to get money because of FFP restrictions. And now what you find yourself in is a situation whereby the FFP tightness that was on Chelsea previously is still there, but not to an extent as it was, let's say, 2 weeks ago. And now Chelsea also have, with the Kai Havertz situation, a comparable deal that they can look at Manchester United and say, here's Kai Havertz. He's got a year left on his contract, I believe. And we're getting 65 million. David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, et al. Have all said today that that deal is looking like it's going to be done fairly quickly. They're coming together pretty close. They're near enough agreed on a £65 million asking price. So now it's upon United to either give Chelsea what they want, try and haggle a little bit more. But the longer we take, the more players they're going to sell and the better position they're going to be in financially, whereby they will be able to ask for 65 million. They will be able to ask for 70 plus million. And what does that stem from? It stems from United being slow. United being slow, United being arrogant, and watching all of these transfers happen in quick time. And yeah, people have been slightly taken aback by how Chelsea have been doing business this summer. Yeah, they've been taken aback by the Saudi Pro League buying all these players, but the football transfer market is evolving and changing in front of our very eyes. And because of that, because of United, again, being slow, they're in trouble because of it. And ultimately now, I think they'll probably try and haggle a little bit more when it comes to this. I don't know, honestly. I mean, I'll leave it to you guys. We'll put a poll in the chat in just a second. Do we think that United are going to pay £65 million for a Mason Mount? 2 more years. Appreciate that, VK, for Kai Havertz. But again, the point being is that they'll have a point of reference to what they're looking for. And now United, I guess, have to decide whether they want to pay that amount or if they want to try and negotiate a little bit more. That's the key thing. So actually, let me put a poll in the chat right now as to should United pay that amount for Mason Mount. I'm shouting. Should Man United pay 65M for Mason Mount? Poll is in the chat. The poll is in the chat as well. No. My answer, if I was clicking it, would be no. I still think that's a ridiculous amount, and I still think that United can do. There are better options available for less at that point. It does feel like, doesn't it, at this point, that the pursuit of Mason Mount is largely driven by Erik ten Hag. This is a player that Ten Hag wants. This is a player that Ten Hag reportedly has really pushed Manchester United to sign, but I think Erik ten Hag has pushed Manchester United to sign a lot of players, and and I think he just wants any signing at this point. Let's be honest. 65 to me seems too high. It always kind of felt like a little bit, despite the report suggesting that that United were going to settle on 50, and again, this is why you kind of laugh, don't you, when they say, next bid's the final bid, because this last bid, if this is the final bid, then United have walked away. And clearly they haven't. United straight away got rejected. They said 45 million plus 5, that's 50. Chelsea said 60 plus 5, that's 65. You would think next time, as David Ornstein says, they might meet a little bit more in the middle, and we might get to 55 plus 5, something like that. I think that's probably where this is going to end up, honestly. I mean, then the next one they might be, they did 45 plus 5. What they do, 50 plus 5 next time? I don't know. Again, I think we'll probably end up with a total package of 55. And then if they say no at that point, then you do walk away. I mean, frankly, at this point, I'm kind of like on the fence of just going, this is getting ridiculous anyway. But one thing you can't argue with Chelsea, certainly, is that if there's a deal to be done, they'll do it quick. We've seen that. We've seen that over the last 24, 48 hours or so. If Chelsea think they've got a fair price, they'll sell because they've got stuff they want to do. So they're not as if they're difficult to negotiate with. I mean, even this Kai Havertz thing, when did it first come out that Arsenal were interested in Kai Havertz? Was that like a week ago? I think it was. Maybe even less than that. I mean, it's near enough done at this point, right? I mean, I think we're pretty close to saying that an agreement's reached for Havertz and Arsenal. I think Ornstein reported on that earlier as well, saying that, you know, it was first he reported 65, and then I think he did a follow-up report saying that deal was getting closer. So it's not as if, again, Chelsea are difficult to negotiate with or anything like that. So you would hope that United could speed things up. But United just need to speed things up in general. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand the situation when it comes to the takeover at the moment, and that is hampering things, and that's hurting things a lot, and it's beyond frustrating. And I know as well, because I'm not a hypocrite, because I know I was the same guy this time last year going, no, don't worry, guys. We need to be calm. Window's just opened. These things will take a while, but we'll get the players in the end. And we did ultimately get the players in the end. But from what I'm seeing so far, and the window's been open, was it a week today the window opened? I think so. 7 days ago the window opened. It was the 14th of June. The window is moving so much quicker this year. It is. Factor in the Saudi Pro League populating their league with star players. Factor in Chelsea just move crazy in these windows. And I put a tweet out earlier today. I really believe Todd Boehly, whether you like him or don't like him, and I'm not the biggest fan of how Chelsea have operated, because I think you could say over the last 12 months it hasn't worked for them, but whether you like it or not, Chelsea are fundamentally changing how transfers are operating in the Premier League at the moment. The speed and the turnover and the prices and the contracts, the way they are operating is changing things. And United can't afford to be dilly-dallying at a time particularly when the takeover's slowing stuff down anyway. So we're already operating with one arm tied behind our back, and we're slow as it is. I mentioned this too. Man United's almost the only club that the phrase business as usual is a negative as well. Business as usual is not good, because business as usual at United is slow, and we overpay and we undercharge. That's the motto for Manchester United. So even if we were, this is my concern about Mason Mount too. Even if we were to walk away from a Mason Mount deal right now and we say it's too much, walk away. Our final offer was 45 plus 5. That's 50. We're walking away right now. I have no faith that United could move on to another target quickly. I don't even know if we've done that due diligence. I don't know if we could even operate that quickly. Again, I think it's almost fortunate that we're negotiating with Chelsea and that they do have a willingness to do things fairly fast. Whereas United don't. we don't have a willingness to do things that quickly. So that's my worry with that. Don't even get me started on wages as well when it pertains to Mason Mount too. Because, I mean, he's looking for, I believe, he said he was looking for wages similar to what Reece James signed when he signed his new 6-year deal at Chelsea, which I believe was $250k a week or something like that. So we'll have to wait and see. Certainly, again, I think the report saying that the next bid, the upcoming bid, which is this bid just now, was going to be the last bid. That was hogwash. That's not true. United will go in again. As I mentioned, if you are just joining us, David Ornstein has reported that Man United have made a new and improved bid of £45 million plus £5 million in add-ons, a total package of 50 for Mason Mount. Chelsea rejected and countered with 60 million plus 5 million in add-ons. A deal is getting closer. Again, that 65 number is the same number reported that Arsenal have agreed with Chelsea for Kai Havertz. They do want to comply with Mason Mount's wishes. I think it's a key thing in that too. They understand at this point they're not going to keep him. They understand he's made his mind up. He wants to leave. He was a player that Mauricio Pochettino wanted to stay. Of course, he's a homegrown player as well. He still is a young player, and they wanted ideally to keep him at the club. He's made his mind up. He wants to leave, and not only does he want to leave, he wants to move to United. So they're going to respect his wishes when it comes to that. I don't know if I see United paying again 65. My feeling now is that They might go back in with 50 plus 5, and that might be enough to get it over the line, or maybe 50 plus 10 or something like that. Again, given our budget this summer with the FFP restrictions and the takeover situation as it is, United are going to have to be really creative. But this is a transfer department that's kind of devoid of creativity. So we're doing things almost 7 days apart as well, aren't we? You know, because I believe the last Mount bid was on the opening day of the transfer window. Fast forward a week, 7 days later, bid number 2. So maybe the bid actually gets agreed next week on the 28th or something like that. We're doing things at a 7-day pace at Manchester United. So it's... I don't know. Again, I think the positive is that an agreement is getting closer. But again, I think United, well, I think everyone would probably agree that United need to be quicker, because the speed and the slowness that we are operating in, which again is understandable given the takeover situation, we're going to get left behind in this window, and clubs are doing their business so quickly, and we have seen previously that if we are slow, we will be overcharged. We will be overcharged, and we can't afford to be overcharged in this window, and prices are all over the place anyway. We're going to get to Fulham in just a bit when it comes to Fred, but yeah, if you are just joining us again, a new bid has gone in, but it's been rejected pretty quickly as well. As far as the poll's been up for nearly 10 minutes. We've had nearly 500 votes. And the question was, should Man United pay £65 million for Mason Mount? Of course, that's the reported asking price that Chelsea are looking for, a lowered asking price of their previous number of like 80, 75, around that region. And it's pretty unanimous. The poll is saying 83% of you are saying no, Man United should not pay £65 million for Mason Mount. Only 17% of you saying yes. My question to those then would be, what is your cut-off point when it comes to Mason Mount? What's the cut-off point that you're looking at? What number is the number that you're happy with? Have we already passed that point with Mason Mount? I've seen some people already in the chat saying, walk away already. I don't want to see us go in for Mason Mount anymore. What's the cut-off point? Let me know the cut-off point as well. Hanif saying 55 max, easy. FH saying 50 plus 5, which again I think is what the next bid is probably going to be. M Shah saying Mount is 45. Culture is saying cut-off point is 50. Lots of people are saying 55. Skiliano says 50 million max total package. Well, that was the bid, Skiliano. That was the bid that just went in, and they've said no. So I guess that means that you would walk away now. I'm not sure. Callum says, I don't mind 65 million, but I think United could still meet them in the middle. Janesh says, walk away 50 million for already, over the cut-off as well. Some people saying walk away. Lots of people saying 55 max. That's kind of the number that a lot of people are going with. So I guess that would suggest that maybe that sort of 50 million pounds up front plus 5 millions in add-ons, or maybe 10. That's probably what people are looking for. So one would hope, certainly, the next bid that goes in for Mason Mount, and there will be a next bid for Mason Mount, no doubt about it, will probably be the last one. There is, again, I guess, some optimism that a deal is getting close and a deal can be agreed between United and Chelsea. But as of right now, 2 bids have gone in and 2 have been rejected. We just don't operate like other clubs where the first bid goes in and it's accepted, or a bid goes in, it's rejected, they negotiate and it's done a day later or 2 days later or something like that. Or in the case of the Arsenal deal with Havertz, like a week later, it's pretty much done. United, it takes 2 weeks or it takes 3 weeks. It's just crazy. See what some of you were saying in the chat. FIFA stream update, please. We have said this several times. The reason there hasn't been a FIFA stream this week or last week is because Josh isn't here. He's on holiday, and now Flex isn't here as well. So it's been impossible to do. Like with the footballers, everyone has their holidays, so that's why. But FIFA will be coming back soon, as will Flex and KG show and all that kind of stuff. So for now, holding down the fort here with these transfer view updates and the news updates as they come in, trying to keep you up to date as quickly as possible with all the transfer news and happenings and takeover situation and all that kind of stuff in the world of Manchester United as well. Super chat from Lil Yo-Yo says, Mount deal, Craig David settings, I'm walking away from troubles. Oh, it's got carried on. I could have sung the whole thing, but it was bad enough that I started it. I'm walking away. I tell you what, I haven't got my soundboard set up. Oh, actually I do. Disgusting! I've been waiting actually as well. I need to get some new sounds for this. I've been waiting to have a United player that I can use this sound for as well. I'm waiting for Romano to say about a potential United target.
Here we go!
I've been waiting for that for weeks. I set that up weeks ago, and I still haven't been able to press the button. I mean, I've just said it. I've pressed it there in preparation for what can happen in the future with it. I want to...
Here we go!
I mean, it just works. It just works. I heard it. He's Italian as well. Maybe, 7 days time, Mason Mount.
Here we go!
But I can't press it yet for any United player. It's a disgrace. It's a cheat. Do you know how long I've been waiting there for? I've been waiting for it. And honestly, I just... God, just, T-Mill says that button is collecting dust. You have no idea. No idea. And I've been, honestly, I've been the opposite of what I was last summer. I remember last summer, me and Flex, we were those people, calm down. I'm not calm. I really am not calm this summer because I know it's 7 days in, but I'm seeing a lot of clubs move. And I know how slow we are, and I already really sympathise for Erik ten Hag because he was spending like the last 6 months saying players that he wanted. I want to get Harry Kane. I want to get this person. I want to get that person. I want to get that person. No. And it's just, particularly after last summer as well, you could argue with him. He was like, well, I was just coming in. I couldn't get my feet under the table just yet, and it took a while for us to get players. This time around with the takeover stuff, it's got to be so frustrating. It's got to be just, honestly. And then when we do get a bit of news of Mount, it's like, Mason Mount, we put another bid in, yeah? Did it get accepted? No. Did it, balls? Anyway, again, that's the latest news when it comes to Mason Mount. We do have plenty of other things to get into in this transfer view as well. So, again, that's pretty positive. I'm going to end that poll just now because it's pretty unanimous that people say that we shouldn't spend £65 million for Mason Mount. But I will put a new one in when it comes to Mason Mount because I want to gauge your thoughts on whether or not this deal is going to happen. So it's pretty simple. Will Manchester United sign Mason Mount? New poll. New poll has gone in the chat. Will United get this deal done? I would think yes. I do think we do sign Mason Mount. I do think that deal does eventually get done. But when? Asking me when? I don't know. And also, too, I got a feeling that maybe Mason Mount might be the only player, a new player certainly, that's on tour. Let's face it. Do we think that as well? Do we think he's going to be the only player? Maybe. I mean, when does tour start? July 10th? July 12th? Something like that. Someone can let me know in the chat officially when that starts. So that's what, like 2 and a bit weeks? Something like that. Maybe Mason Mount on tour, something like that. The 12th. Son of Flex. Thank you. Son of Flex. So maybe Mason Mount might be that only player, but I don't know. I really don't. We've got nearly 1,400 people watching. We've got only 200 likes. Let's get it to 500. Let's get it to 500. If you haven't already, click that like button as well. I'm just checking Twitter as well because at the moment things are crazy. Honestly, with transfer stuff, it's happening all the time. So if my eyes get diverted elsewhere, it's because I'm just checking anything else. Ben Jacobs talking about Mason Mount too. Just kind of reaffirming what David Ornstein has reported, saying that Manchester United's second bid for Mason Mount was £50 million, with £45 million guaranteed. Chelsea responded, asking for 60 plus 5. Manchester United view Mount as a big priority, but want him for under 60 million, as previously reported. Mount wants the move. So you would think if United want him for under 60 million, they'll sign him for 59. Or something like that. Or I think the next bid, as we spoke about, will probably be 50 plus 5, and maybe they hope that that's enough, or 50 plus 10 again. Also, by the way, we are under 100 subscribers away from 143,000 100,000 subscriber, 143k. Now, I don't think that's probably possible in this stream, but we could get very close. So again, if you haven't, be sure to subscribe. You'll see the number, top right-hand corner, hopefully continue to go up as we continue to chat in this stream. For whatever reason, the subscriber number wasn't working this morning as well. I haven't touched it, so I don't know why it started working again. But it is working again. So let's see if we can get those sub numbers up as well. Maybe, you never know. If we hit 143k in this stream, I'm taking full credit. I'm knocking on the boss's door, Fleck, and I'm going to go, hey, look, it's all on me. Yeah, all on me. I'm going to go full Marcus Rashford settings. I'm just going to walk in. You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. So 80 away. Anything's possible. Let's move on and let's talk about Declan Rice. Now, this was something we were going to chat about anyway today, and I want to get your thoughts on this because this one, to me, seems kind of FIFA-ish, but you never know. It could be possible. We're talking about one midfielder in Mason Mount. Let's talk about another in Declan Rice. Now, this is a big story that comes from the Telegraph today, saying that Manchester United are considering rivaling Arsenal's move for Declan Rice by proposing a player plus cash deal that could involve Harry Maguire or Scott McTominay. Now, the expectation, it must be said, just to level everyone's understandings on this, the expectation remains that Rice is still far more likely to join Arsenal, but Manchester United would like to sign him if a deal can be constructed within their relatively limited transfer budget this summer. West Ham would want to sign Scott McTominay. If Manchester United are able to use him as a makeweight in any deal to sign Declan Rice, they would consider it. It's understood Harry Maguire's wage expectations may prohibit a move to West Ham if he could be persuaded to accept the transfer. Declan Rice is a big fan. David Moyes, rather, is a huge admirer of the player. It remains to be seen what the valuation is for Scott McTominay or Harry Maguire is, and if one of them agrees to leave, what portion of the Declan Rice fee that would take up. Manchester United are yet to open negotiations, though, with West Ham. A major stumbling block, though, in Arsenal's offer for Declan Rice is the length of time in which they would want to pay the fee. I think that first bid, or is it a second bid? I forget which one it is. I'm not paying too much attention to Arsenal's transfer dealings this summer, but they did put in a bid for Declan Rice recently, didn't they? And it was rejected very quickly by West Ham because I think it was for something like 75 million, but that 75 million was spread across like 5 years or something like that. Ridiculous. It was crazy, and I think West Ham were absolutely right to reject that offer. If they're looking for 100, reportedly, and then Arsenal come in with 75, not even 75 up front, 75 across like 4 or 5 years. That's crazy. Of course they're right to reject that. So the question becomes, can United steal a march on Arsenal with this? What say you? I would be very surprised. Again, this feels like a very complicated deal to do if United were to be able to pull this off. We can't do complicated deals. We can barely do Mason Mount. And we know what Chelsea want for Mason Mount. We couldn't do Kim Min-jae. Now, whether or not we were actually truly, really in for him and priorities changing and all that kind of stuff, that's up to you to decide. But in terms of a complex deal of Declan Rice valuing, okay, how much is Harry Maguire actually worth? How much is Scott McTominay actually worth? How much does that take off the price of Rice? That rhymes. I can't see United really getting away with anything like that, you know, or trying to pull that one off. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to put in a bid, or maybe they opened up conversations with West Ham and said, look, hypothetically, if we were to offer you money plus McTominay plus Maguire, how much would you be looking for in that instance? Because they could put across, look, I understand Scott McTominay is not Declan Rice, but we're giving you a midfielder there to replace that position with. That helps. We're giving you a centre-back who is our captain, not for much longer, but he's an England international too. Wages, we'll talk a bit later on about that because his wages are massive, but what would that look like? What would the price look like with that? Let's try and do a bit of maths. Okay, how much money? This is the thing. I don't even know what value players are at the moment because they're crazy. How much money is Scott McTominay worth? Well, he come through the academy, international player, homegrown tax, Premier League tax. Let's say he's 30, 35, maybe. Let's say 30, something like that. Okay, 30. Harry Maguire. How much is Harry Maguire worth? Honestly. Particularly if you're factoring in his wages, which will make the thing come down as well. And I don't even give a shit about we took a loss. We took a loss the moment we signed him. It was like driving a new car off the lot. That loss went down immediately. How much is Harry Maguire worth? Honestly. People are saying 30, 35. I think given his wages are so high, because they're like, what? They're like 200k, something like that, his wages. I think Harry Maguire might be worth like 20 million, honestly. 25, something like that. So if we're saying that combined, they're probably worth between 55 to 60 million. West Ham are looking for reportedly 100 for Declan Rice. If you put in both of them plus 40 million or plus 45 million, would that be enough to get a deal, do you think, over the line? It depends what West Ham are looking for. If they're in their mind, they've resigned themselves, they're losing Declan Rice this summer. And if their mindset is, we want the most amount of money possible, so our options are open, then you would think they probably accept Arsenal's offer. Arsenal will eventually get to the price that they're reasonably looking for. Again, an issue that they have is that Arsenal want to spread it across several years, a bit like they did with Pepe. I think they're still paying, I think it's the last year of Pepe's transfer fee off this summer or something like that. They're trying to do a similar thing for Declan Rice. But if West Ham want players and West Ham want replacements as well, you would say to him, well, we're giving you, again, an England international in Harry Maguire, and we're giving you a Scott McTominay, who is a Scottish international, and he's not bad. I mean, as far as these players, we criticise them. They're not good enough for Manchester United. Certainly Harry Maguire isn't. Scott McTominay, as a starting midfielder, isn't good enough for Manchester United. I think he found his role this past season, really, in terms of squad player, comes on if needed, maybe in a big game if we need someone to follow someone around. That's basically what Scott McTominay can do. But if we're saying to West Ham, we're giving you two international players there that have played at a high level at United. Granted, they're more West Ham level than Manchester United level, but we're giving you players plus cash. Again, it depends what they're looking for. The deal for me feels far too complex for Manchester United to navigate successfully. I don't know if United have the minerals to do a deal like that. I'm more than happy to come on this stream or come on this channel and say, tell you what, John Murto, Richard Arnold, I didn't think you had it in you. I didn't think you had it in you to pull off a 2 players plus cash deal for a Declan Rice. If we were serious, if you really, really wanted to show your intent this summer, despite having a small budget, you'd find ways to circumnavigate it. You'd look at Todd Boehly and you would say, man, this guy's facing all kind of FFP stuff. He came in last year. He spent a record amount in the summer window, a record amount in the January transfer window as well. Gave people these mammoth-long contracts to get around it. You'd find ways around your budget. You'd find ways to make it work if you were really serious and wanted to back your manager as well. But at the same time, I just don't see United doing it. Again, I think the most likely outcome is that he goes to Arsenal. Arsenal eventually give West Ham what they want. Maybe not exactly all up front, but it might be. I think I did see reports previously stating that basically West Ham wanted the whole transfer fee up front or also a year later as well. That's basically, they wanted them all of it within the space of 12 months, something like that, which Arsenal was somewhat reluctant to do. Now, you could argue United might say, hey, we can't give you 100 million. We can give you 40 or 50 plus these 2 players. We'll give you it up front as well, maybe. But I saw this one. And also, again, let's also take a step back here as well, guys. What is this again? Monitoring. It's talking. They're sitting around the boardroom table at Carrington or Old Trafford or wherever they do it on a Zoom call. I don't know. They're doing all that and they're talking about it. Enough talk. More action. Do something. Do something. Stop talking. Do something. Test the waters. Go crazy. Throw that bid in there the first time. Have West Ham laugh at you and then go, you kidding me? We're not going to accept the 2 players plus cash. And then at least you know. At least you know, and then we can move on. But it's just again, I'd love it, but also as well, then you look at, so what, we're going to sign Declan Rice and Mason Mount too? And what happens to the striker that we need to get? What happens to the goalkeeper that we need to get? For me, as I've said, in terms of a priority list of players that we need in this summer window, striker, goalkeeper, midfielder. That's my list of players that we need. We desperately need a striker. A good one. A guaranteed goalsman. That was really the difference last season for us. In terms of goals conceded, we were pretty much on par with everyone else around us, apart from the likes of Man City, but they won the league, they won the treble. Clearly, they're on a different plateau at the moment. But in terms of everyone else, we were near enough there in terms of goals conceded. So what we were vastly different from all of the other teams around us, and even considerably lower than us, was goals scored. We need a striker. That's the number one priority that we need. After that, for me, number two's become a goalkeeper. The reason it's become number two is because David De Gea's leaving. David De Gea's off. In 9 days, David De Gea will not be a Manchester United player anymore because his contract expires. And as of right now, there's no resolution with that. I think it's quite clear, United and Ten Hag's intentions. Reportedly, they're talking to other goalkeepers as well. All of the reports said they're not optimistic that De Gea is going to stay too. So that's become a number two just because of the proximity to De Gea's deal ending and the fact that we need a number one. So we need to get a goalkeeper. That's number two. Midfield, again, I think is now third. But if we're so keen on getting Mason Mount and we've got such a short budget, how on earth are we going to squeeze Declan Rice into that as well as get a goalkeeper, as well as get a top striker? I know player sales, but still, have you seen us try and sell players recently? Zidane Iqbal went for €1 million yesterday. So we're going to talk about Fred in a bit. So I would say, how does that even fit into our priorities at this point? If we get Declan Rice, do you then walk away from Mason Mount or do you continue that deal too? There are so many questions here. And these conversations that you and I are having right now, I'm sure they're the same conversations that United are having at the moment. The only problem is they should have had them months ago. These should have been the conversations they were having months ago. And what's probably crazy is I think they probably were. But still, nothing's happening. Again, partially because of the takeover stuff too. That's kind of frozen Manchester United in space. It doesn't look like it's going to get resolved anytime soon. And it's infuriating. This transfer process, we're 7 days into this window. And it's already infuriating. Oh my goodness me. Oh. Breathe, Owen. Breathe. Let's see if I'm caught up when it comes to super chats and things of that nature as well. I believe I am. I think I am. In terms of the other poll in the chat, which went in 15 minutes ago, 720 votes. My goodness me, a lot of votes. The question was, will Manchester United sign Mason Mount? And what's quite interesting, actually, is despite the majority saying that we shouldn't pay £65 million for Mason Mount, the majority on this poll is saying that we will sign him. So the question then becomes, do you believe that we will sign him for less, or do you believe that we shouldn't sign him for 65 million, but we probably will sign him for 65 million? I suppose that's the next question as well, certainly. How many likes are we on at the moment too? We are currently on, let me stretch this out a bit, 316. Austin 316 says we need more likes on the like button. Got over 1,500 people watching. We can get to 500. And a reminder, top right hand corner, 80 subscribers away from 143,000. The road to 150k is speeding up faster than a Man United transfer, honestly. So there you go. That's the latest when it comes to Declan Rice as well. And of course, if you aren't watching this live, you're watching after the fact, still get your thoughts in. Comment section below. There's a lot of interaction that always happens in the comment section here at United View 2. I'm not going to spend too long on this one because I think this is crazy. So there's a bit of a story over the sort of last few hours from Fabrizio Romano that Xavi Simons, of course, at PSV, used to be at PSG. He's actually got a really short buyback clause at PSG, and it's just €6 million. 6 million. Nevertheless, Manchester United are among clubs who have been asked to be informed about the situation of Xavi Simons. As I mentioned, PSG have a buyback clause of just €6 million, valid from the 1st to the 31st of July. The final decision is up to the player. Again, I'm not going to spend too long on it. I'd be flabbergasted if we got Xavi Simons. Again, I would think he had a great season at PSV. I mean, PSG didn't really want to lose him last year anyway, but this is what happens with good young players, is when you do sell them, buyback clause. Put in a buyback clause. It gives you options for the future. Now, you can't force Can't force the player to come back. Ultimately, if Xavi Simons doesn't want to, or Simons doesn't want to sign for PSG, he doesn't have to come back. So he could say, well, you can try and get me back for €6 million, but I'm not going. I want to go elsewhere. That could happen, maybe, but we ain't getting him. I'd be really, really surprised. We don't even have Rude at PSV to help us in that instance there. So what was that from KG? See, this is what's... I'm getting a call from KG, that comedian. Mr. the Comedian, you're live on United View.
Listen, I'm calling in just because I'm just a little bit excited. I've got a little bit of, this is good transfer news. This is good. This is what we want to hear.
Why?
You want to be in the... I like the thought of, you see that Scott McTominay Maguire thing?
Yeah.
That's exciting. David Moyes, because we're tempting a minute. Like, you can replacing the players are quite difficult. David Moyes is saying, listen, bringing a Scottish player in, Scott McTominay can play centre-back, can play in the midfield. He's obviously not Rice, but it is an option, right? You trust him. He can believe in that player. And if we do both of them, if we give them both Maguire, and that's fantastic. With some money on top, brilliant business.
Yeah, but KG, you say this is exciting, this is good news, and I agree with you. I went through the permutations with the UV community and said, well, you know, how much is Maguire worth? How much is McTominay worth? Blah blah blah. Do you have any faith that that's a complex deal, is it not? It's a complex deal.
It's very, very complex.
Do you have any faith that United could pull off a deal that complex?
Well, you have to give these guys you have to just hope and believe, right? That's all you can do.
KG, that is not a yes or a no. I've said, do you believe we can pull it off? And you go, you have to believe.
No, that's it. Because if by going by what they've done before, absolutely. In the past, you would say absolutely not. They haven't got what it takes. But you're hoping that with us being in these, we have to be creative in the market and do things like this. So this would be an impressive acquisition. If you could do this on FIFA, you know, when they give you a rating, this is an A. You get an A. If you say this guy...
Yeah, but KG, this isn't FIFA. It's not FIFA.
I know. No, I'm just saying in terms of, if they can pull off a deal like this, you have to give them an A. This would be impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, of course. I said that too. I'd love to come on the stream going, I'll tell you what, John Murto, Richard Arnold, I doubted you, but you pulled it off. The problem is, KG, we both know. I mean, we're paying for Declan Rice in hope and belief.
Because we're broke. It's reckless. Nah, listen, Owen. We gotta be like hopeful at least. That's all we have. If you get rid of hope, what do we have? What do we have left?
We don't have anything anyway.
So then hope is free, bro.
Yeah, but it's the hope that kills you, KG. It's the hope that kills you. When does hope meet delusion?
Well, they're very close together, right? But then you can hope until delusion's when you still think you can do it. Isaiah Miasi's things. You know what I mean? This is just being in there with the Man United have to be creative with the way they're approaching and getting players. Now, if you're saying Mount, listen, Rice, your mate Mount's gonna be here. We'll have him here in a little while. Probably 55 million. Go back with that. That should be all right. That should be all right to get him out. 55 million, an extra 5 in add-ons, so 60 million all in total. You know, we're not far from that. For a player in his final year of his contract and someone that Ten Hag's touted a lot, you're saying, well, here. It's all here. And then now the window becomes way more exciting. Sorry, I just went past something really loud.
Yeah, carry on.
The window starts to become more exciting because if you can bring in Mount Rice and a new goalkeeper, and that striker.
KG, we're not getting Mason Mount and Declan Rice, are we?
Why not?
Because the budget's too small. We know the budget's too small.
No, but that's
And
what we'll
it would be typical. It would be typical United, wouldn't it? That at the end of the window we go, who did we get? Well, even if we got Mount and Rice, but we didn't get a goalkeeper or a striker. Could you imagine? Well, exactly. I think that kind of sums up his mindset. He just hung up. I think that kind of summed up KG there. Could you imagine?
Disgusting!
Really is KG. He's just... He's all over the place, yeah, with him. He is. This morning, he's going, he's doing it again. He's doing, fuck's sake, man. Fuck. Now, he sees that thing with Rice, talking about McTominay and Maguire, and he's going, this is good news. Here he goes, call him back again. Mr. the Comedian.
Yes, I'm back. Wicked. Sorry, I was in a dead...
This is what he does to me as well. He calls me and he goes,
I don't think we'll still get a striker. I still believe we'll get a striker.
We didn't hear that, KG. You're going through dead spot.
What's that?
Now you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Go on.
I said we didn't hear that. You went through a dead spot.
Oh, sorry. So I'm saying that, I know you're saying that it'll be typical Man United to not get a striker, but we're going to get a striker. We will get a striker at the end of this window. So you could say, if you bring in, if there's a window of Onana, Onana and Mount and Rice with a striker, bloody hell, I'm ready.
Yeah, of course, that would be great. That would be amazing. But is that actually going to happen?
With the moves that you don't think that we could prize, Rice out of there with two players?
I don't think that deal is impossible to do. I think for Manchester United, with the current executives there, I think it's impossible to do. And again, what this budget? Like how? If we're talking about possibly 50, I mean, the bid we put in for Mason Mount, David Ornstein said 45 plus 5, that was rejected. Chelsea said they wanted 60 plus 5. We're probably going to meet in the middle. It's probably going to be like 55 plus 5, something like that. Or 50 plus 5, right?
I believe that.
If our budget is 120 million or 100 million, half the budget's gone. We still need to get a striker that could possibly be costing us 50 to 60 million. We still need to get a goalkeeper that could be costing us 50 to 60 million. So we've got a spend of around 150 million. Where does the Declan Rice money come from?
No, but then you're forgetting that the money that we're making on the swap deal, right? So if you get rid of, let's say, because you can only do like we're gonna do like one deal at a time, innit? Really. So now let's focus on this. Let's focus on the Mason Mount one. We're not even gonna get into the keeper thing yet. Yeah.
Right.
So the Mason Mount issue is what, 55? You're saying how much left have I got? I've got what?
About 50 left.
Yeah, but all right, wicked, brilliant. So now with Maguire and McTominay, if I was to bring in both of those guys, they're saying Declan Rice supposed to be getting for 100 million, correct?
Yeah.
Supposedly for 100 million. If you're saying give to them two of those plus plus 30 million, I've still got 20 million left.
Yeah.
Now
we're not getting Declan Rice for those two players plus 30 million. They'll want more than that.
How much will they want?
They probably want at least 40 or 50 if we're going to give them those two players.
How much is McTominay worth?
McTominay probably about 30, 35, something like that.
Yeah, and then Maguire's worth,
about 20.
And Maguire's worth 50.
No, he's
not taking the piss.
Maguire's not worth 50 million, KG. He is
40.
He's not, because again, it said in the report too, it said that his wages, he's on 200k a week. So whenever players are on big wages, the other club, they're like, it's gonna have to be low.
We can't get 40 million, but we got to get 40. He must be worth 40.
You're saying you think Harry Maguire is worth 50 million pounds?
Well, listen, I don't think he's worth a lot. But then in today's market, when players like Ziyech is getting for, not Ziyech, when Kai Havertz is going for something stupid like 65. With 2 years on his contract, he's not that good, is he?
50 million for Harry Maguire. 50 million for Harry Maguire.
Where's the English tax? Why don't we get to do this shit that everyone else gets to do?
50.
All right, so what? How much you saying? 45?
No, I'm
Surely.
saying Harry Maguire's worth
He's
like...
an England international.
Harry Maguire's
He's
worth like 20, 25. He is.
for an England international.
He's got 2 years left on his contract too, doesn't he, Maguire?
No, but you got to boost. What you're doing right now, you're doing Glazeronomics. You got to boost it like they do the unnecessary boosted in the league.
Glazeronomics, KG. We're doing with Glazeronomics is we can't afford Declan Rice. We're having to give you 2 players plus a little bit of cash. That is Glazeronomics.
Absolutely. But then you got to boost. I think if they're saying that this guy's quality, all around, all the pundits, everyone in the papers tell me that kid's good. Now, we don't appreciate him, absolutely. But then you got to say that he must be able to fetch minimum 40. Come on, man.
No one is paying 40 million for Harry Maguire. No chance.
Not if it's in a thingy deal. You might
No,
consider
just in general. Therefore, his value is not 40 million.
I don't know, man, Owen.
Or
I
50.
think you're not putting
You said
this
50.
English.
Excuse me. You said 50.
I tried, innit? You gotta put that thingy on, man.
50.
Owen, we need to be able to do ridiculous things. Rasmus Højlund is going for how much is that kid? He hasn't even got close to Maguire's England caps.
Yeah, but no one's going to pay, like, what did they ask for? 80 million. We ain't paying 80 million for Rasmus Højlund.
But I bet you they get closer to their number than the number we want to pay.
I think that's crazy.
Am I right? I am right about that.
I
bet you that it's gonna not 80 million, but I bet you they get closer to. I bet you you saying 65, 70 that kid end up coming in for or something stupid like that. And that's not value for money. That don't make sense. He's not worth that. But that's just what they do in the league. If they're saying if Chelsea have been able to sell these players for the price they've been selling their players for, why can't we do ridiculous things in the market and say some mad figures? I wouldn't pay 13 million personally for Maguire. But it's not about what I would pay. It's about what the market looks like. And the market is ridiculous. You should be able to say 40 million, England international, Man United captain, this, that, and the other. He's not a rubbish player. He's just no longer in my plans because I want to play a different style of football. Doesn't mean he's crap because he still starts for England week in, week out. Southgate picks him above everyone.
I'm not saying he's crap, but I'm saying if you did a McTominay and Maguire deal plus cash to West Ham, you're paying more than 30 million for Declan Rice. You will be.
I think if you're strengthening them, they're actually getting strict. That's brilliant. They got two in one. It's a great deal. It's a really good deal.
And honestly, also as well,
and it's 2 players that you know.
Also as well, again, this is great, but like it's not going to happen. This deal is not going to happen, KG.
You just want to shit on everyone's parade.
I don't want to shit on it. I just want to be real here. You called me and I said, how's that going to happen? You went, hope.
Yeah, so why are you just shitting on hope?
Because I'm being real. I'm detoxing from hopium and copium. Let's be real. Are Man United really going to pull off a 2-player plus cash swap deal for Declan Rice?
You know what? Do you know what's happening right now? Do you know who you've become?
Go on.
At the English media, when Qatar say that, what do you call it, weapon runners, and you just shit on it. You don't even like to marinate. You don't like to simmer with the audience and the fans. You just shit all over it.
What you're doing, KG, yeah, is I don't know what you're on. I mean, probably,
This is crack.
or as The Rock said,
You are on crack.
yeah, something like that, something like that, because you're calling in saying you think Maguire's worth 50, and this is going to happen through hope and belief. Like
40,
we've seen no evidence that United have the capabilities, the minerals, whatever you want to call it, to do this kind of deal.
I really would love Murto to pull off this madness. Yeah, that would just be so cool.
So would I. But Murto flew to Spain to get Frankie done. Didn't happen. He flew to Turin to get Rabiot done. He just came back home with pizza and paella or whatever.
He came over with a lot of carbs in it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but then this is it, because don't get twisted. Murto and them, man, they're fighting for their jobs. Remember, they got that 100 thing. If the new owner comes in there, yeah. So you got to put your finger up, because there's going to be a new owner, and you want to be here. You want to prove that you're worth something.
Not gonna be.
I know, but you.
As Alex Reed points out, do you know how much they want for Eric Bailly, KG?
It's gone.
It's like
2 million.
I think it's like 2 or 3 million.
We're a disgrace. We're the only club that does this. We're the only club. Liverpool. If Bailly was a Liverpool player, yeah, he would have went for more than that. Absolutely, he would have.
It's a disgrace. It's a cheat.
This part, we don't know how to sell players. But I'm telling you, man, we need to, and you're doing it right now when you're saying that Maguire is a 25 million player. I understand that. In the old school market where it was realistic, absolutely. In this new school market, what you're saying, I've got England international starts consistently for them. Player. Gareth Southgate, first name on the team sheet. That's what I'm saying you. Man United, ex-Man United captain, organisation still. What do people say about this guy? Yeah, that's what you're buying right now. Quality.
I'll tell you what,
He's
KG.
going to be good in air. I'm saying that. I'm saying that. You 40 million.
KG.
Your defense is fine.
KG, yeah. Your signal on your phone is similar to your internet this morning. You know what I mean?
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, very.
Damn it. I'll see you later then. This is rubbish.
I'll see you in a bit.
I really wish you're not streaming out, are you?
No, I'm not.
Damn it. All right, cool. See you later.
I'll see you in a bit. KG, man. He's all over the place. He is all over the place. Remember when KG used to have technology that worked?
He was special.
I don't get it. I don't understand. He's a different guy. KG's hairstylist says, I think I made KG's ponytail too tight. He is nuts. Well, there you go. What else were we going to talk about? Okay, very briefly. Very briefly. We'll wrap things up pretty soon. So a little bit of an update when it comes to Fred. Michael Bridge from Sky Sports has said that as it stands, Fulham won't be pursuing a deal for Fred as they understand the price to be prohibitive, which I think makes me laugh because for their midfielder, they're looking for 90 million quid. 90. And then we want 20 million for Fred. And they go, it's a bit too much. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. John James says Owen's a snake. Made him ramble on to tell him the news. Your phone signal went great. Wow, it's funny. And I don't want to interrupt people. It's rude. Jadon says get Gareth Southgate at the negotiations to upsell Maguire. That would be epic. Honestly, same way that Louis van Gaal prevented Jurrien Timber from joining United last summer, Southgate should pick up the phone to Maguire and say, by the way, if you don't leave this summer, I'm not picking you. Like, get used to it. I am not going to pick you if you don't leave United this summer because you're not going to play. You know you're not going to play. So maybe they should do that too. We are just less than 60 likes away from 500. So if you haven't already, click the like button. We're closing in still. We're making good headway with getting to 143k. We're currently at 142,927. So that's what, 73 away from getting 143k. So if you haven't already, click the subscribe button, bottom right hand corner. So that's the latest when it comes to Fred. And finally, just a bit of an update when it comes to Zidane Iqbal. I know lots of people still talking about that, the 1 million euros, etc., etc., etc. Well, Rich Fay from the Manchester Evening News has written a piece on that, saying Zidane Iqbal's departure this summer was planned from the early stages of last season, with the only variable being whether that was a loan or a permanent exit. Manchester United wanted to make the most of Zidane Iqbal while he was at the club and felt he provided high-level support for the first-team squad during training, but they ultimately felt 1 million euros was a fair reflection of his current talents. Are you taking the piss? Seriously? 1 million euros is a fair reflection of his current value, but you don't sell people for what they're currently worth as well. When you're selling young players, you're selling the potential as well, saying we think in a few years or a few years' time he's going to become this, and this. What a diss! What a diss that is. Well, we think this at the moment you're only worth 1 million euros. So we're just going to say for that. So anything about the future? No. I mean, there are sell-on clauses. There's no buyback or anything like that. But it's a fair reflection. Fair reflection. I wouldn't come back if I saw that was reported about me. It continues by saying Zidane Iqbal wanted to leave Man United on loan in January, but Ten Hag vetoed the decision amid an injury crisis, which is true. There was also frustration at Ten Hag's refusal to grant him permission to join Iraq at the Under-20 World Cup last month, despite a lack of senior commitments. Yeah, I don't understand that as well. I really don't get that at all. Why he wasn't allowed to join up with the Under-20 World Cup last month. I can understand Alejandro Garnacho. He was going to play games. He played games. He was an important player. Zidane Iqbal has been on the fringes of the first team all season. Has even come on during a Premier League match. I don't even think he did. Maybe once. At the best, he would be on the bench and he would sit on the bench the whole game. He could have gone to the Under-20 World Cup. You know, that is, I'd be annoyed about that too. And again, when it comes to the discussion about 1 million euros being a fair reflection for his price, I think that's nuts, honestly. It really is. I saw some people saying Havertz, here we go, but I haven't seen anything about that yet. And again, I'm still waiting to press. Oh, it is there. Oh, here we go. I still can't press the bloody here we go button on my soundboard here for a United player. And again, this was done in a week. Meanwhile, United, first bid went in for Mount last week, rejected. Second bid, 7 days later, rejected. This transfer window, man. It's going to be the end of me. So yeah, Kai Havertz, first Arsenal sign. Who said to us this morning, by the way, it was on the morning show that KG and myself did, where someone said, calm down, none of the top six signings have made, none of the top six sides have made signings. Kovacic, here we go today. They're going to sign Cavadio as well. Arsenal, Kai Havertz, here we go. Newcastle, I think they're going to get Barella. I don't know if that one's happening yet. They're still quite far off when it comes to price by that. Liverpool, they've signed McAllister. When are we going to see that this is becoming a problem? Unless we get proper movement in the next few days. We're already falling behind. Chelsea are doing stuff quick. They're not difficult to negotiate with as well. Oh. Well, as KG said, I'm just poo-pooing everyone's dreams and stuff like that as well. But that is the latest transfer update for you. Hopefully, the next time I speak with you will be a bit more of a positive one. We've still got over 1,500 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 500 likes. We're at 486. So what's that? We're 14 away. 14, that's just it. 14 likes away from getting 500 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As far as what's on tap for the remainder of the day, easy for me to say, remainder of the week, I'm all flustered because now I'm annoyed. I'm even more annoyed than I was previously about the transfer stuff. What's on tap for the remainder of the day? Well, of course, if there's any more news or goings on or anything like that when it comes to United, we'll be live. We'll let you know. Tomorrow will be morning show, 9 a.m. as always. KG and myself. Fingers crossed his connection's better than his connection this morning, and the signal as well that he had too. And we, as KG said, we've got to pay with hope. That's what we're paying with hope. Jadine says, Owen, what about Maguire retrial in Greece? Yeah, we did speak about that very, very briefly this morning. I did see that was in the report saying that there was going to be this retrial. Don't know how that will affect things or play things out when it comes to transfers. I probably think it would be largely ineffectual, honestly, in terms of transfers and all that kind of stuff. So I don't expect it to have any really impact or anything like that as well. So there you go, guys. As I mentioned, if any more news does develop, we'll be live. We'll bring it to you as quickly as possible and trying to react to it in real time. Anyway, I'm out of here. Have a good Wednesday afternoon, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.